All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at a really fascinating group, adults in their 50s. They're the generation old enough to clearly remember adult life before the internet was in everyone's pocket, but they're also young enough to have completely embraced the smartphone era. So we're going to explore their unique and sometimes tricky balancing act with technology. And when I say they've embraced it, I really mean it. Over 90% of adults between 50 and 59 now use a smartphone. I mean, think about this. Back in 2015, that number was only around 50%. That is a gigantic leap in just a few short years. Pretty incredible, right?
So here's the thing that makes them so interesting. They're a true transition generation. They didn't grow up with this tech glued to their hands. They had to learn and adopt it midlife. And that creates this amazing tension, this push and pull between all the good things it brings and all the stress. They've really got a foot in both the analog and the digital worlds, and that's what makes their story so compelling.
But why? What was the big driver behind this massive shift? Well, it definitely wasn't just about getting on social media. For this group, the smartphone quickly became an absolutely essential, non-negotiable part of just living. So let's break down what was really going on.
For people in their 50s, their phone is basically mission control. It's how they stay in touch with their kids and grandkids who might be scattered all over the country. It's how they handle telehealth appointments and manage their health records. It's for banking, getting directions, online shopping, you name it. And hey, a lot of them are still working, so it's a critical tool for their careers. This thing isn't a toy. For them, it's a lifeline. And this is where we get to the real heart of the matter. For all the good it does, that lifeline comes with a cost. The very same tool that connects them to everyone and everything is also a huge source of stress and anxiety. It's a classic double-edged sword, and it plays out in some really specific ways. You can really see the two sides of the coin here, can't you? On the one hand, yeah, these devices fight off loneliness, they give you access to support groups, and they even keep your mind sharp. But then there's the other side, this constant anxiety about using the tech wrong, the sheer frustration when apps and phones update and change everything, and that nagging feeling of being left behind when you see younger folks using it all so effortlessly. Now, this experience isn't one size fits all, not even close. The research makes it super clear that men and women in their 50s are often using their phones in completely different ways, and that leads to very different kinds of stress. So for women in this age group, the smartphone is often a tool for maintaining relationships, coordinating family stuff, checking in on friends. It can be super rewarding, but it also creates this pressure, this obligation to be always on and available. For men, though, it's often more about utility, checking the news, managing finances, using maps. And what's really interesting is that men tend to be more polarized. They're either super confident with the tech or they're strongly resistant to it. Okay, so it's not just about gender. Where you actually live can totally change the game. The day-to-day reality of using a smartphone in a big city is a world away from what it's like in a rural area. So, if you live in a city, you've probably got great cell service, fast internet, and lots of places to go for tech support if you need it. But that access comes with its own baggage. There's more pressure to keep up with the latest thing, way more digital noise from all the notifications, and just a general sense of overload. You have the access, for sure, but you also get all the stress that comes with it. And that brings us to this really fascinating concept called the rural paradox. Here's how it works. On one hand, having bad reception or slow internet can actually act as a shield. You get fewer notifications, there's less pressure to be online, so you have less tech-related anxiety. But on the other hand, it's incredibly frustrating when you can't have a telehealth call with your doctor or video chat with your grandkids because the connection just won't hold up. And this is that paradox in action. The biggest problem is just plain infrastructure. Then you've got fewer places to turn for help when something goes wrong, which just adds to the anxiety. Now, stronger real-world community ties can help make up for it, but there's a very real danger of being completely cut off from essential services as more and more of them move exclusively online. It's a real catch-22. So what's the big takeaway here? For adults in their 50s, the whole game is about finding a balance. It's about learning how to tap into the incredible power of these devices without getting swept away by the digital tidal wave. It's all about finding that sweet spot. I just love this quote from the research because I think it absolutely nails it. This phrase perfectly captures the daily reality for this generation. They are constantly using technology to bridge the physical distance between them and the people they care about. But to do that, they have to navigate this nonstop flood of information, demands, and notifications. And that really leaves us with one final and I think really important question to chew on. When we see older adults struggling with their phones, is that a personal problem? Is it their fault? Or is it actually a failure on our part? A failure to design technology that's intuitive, that's accessible, and that's respectful to people of every single generation? Definitely something to think about.